to it: community, mission, and environment, which was the Army's spin on the triple bottom line. Along with that, all sorts of chiefs of staffs, Army secretaries, etc., made a number of strong committing statements to, here's what we mean by sustainability, this notion that what we do today also has an impact on future generations, and that we're looking at things from a systems point of view and this triple bottom line perspective. This is actually one of the key things that I think Friedman's quote alludes to, which is the Army is an organization with leaders and a chain of hierarchy, and so when there's a direction set out, for the most part, people get in line and follow that direction. So when you have a new direction, you want all the leaders to make statements. But that new direction started to take roots right away. Programs at the University of Virginia, Darden, went through an aggressive campaign of leadership training for Army. I went to the first one of those leadership training programs in about 2005. So just after the vision statement was released. There was a strategic plan developed, although never published until 2010. a lot of gap there that had to do with the angst in the organization moving from a vision to a plan. And a number of other initiatives. This publication is actually a publication that's by the Association for the U.S. Army, which took this on. I mean, that's an association we might say, well, what's this about? But instead, they responded to it with sustainability can be a force multiplier, can make us more effective if we're more sustainable. And a lot of what they meant there is, if we're a lighter, meaner, leaner organization in theater, we can be more effective if we don't use so much fuel, if we don't need so much water, if we don't make so much waste. We can be more effective actually in our mission. And we also started here in Champaign a center supporting this vision, Center for Advancement of Sustainability Innovations. That's the center I'm the director of. The initiative by the Army got recognition at the White House level with this Closing the Circle Award in 2007. And also in 2007, we did the first Army Sustainability Report. Now, this was not a required report. This was before the executive order, which came out in 2009, which now requires that all the federal agencies do a report. So we're now doing the fourth one of these reports. So they happened in 2009. We did one, and we're working on 2010 right now. One of the interesting things about these reports, and an issue that relates to the influence of the Army, is that they are done within a standard that is one of the internationally recognized sustainability reporting standards, the Global Reporting Initiative. And it was the first time that a federal agency in the U.S. did a report based on that standard. There's several federal agencies that are now using GRI as their reporting standard. Again, lots of senior executives grabbing onto this concept and moving out with it. And Gordon Sullivan is also the general that led the team that did the very influential study on climate change. And is there a climate security component to climate change? And how should the Department of Defense look at the issue? And that report in 2008 turned a lot of heads in the Department of Defense in terms of how do we view the issue of changing climate. All right, here's that campaign plan that came out in 2010. It actually says, okay, who's responsible for what to make the vision happen, and how are we going to monitor it? Why the long delay? I actually sat on committees 3 times writing plans, and each time One level or another said, oh no, we have to think about it this way, we have to think about it that way. So there was, the kind of thing that happens in a large organization with a lot of players is that you get new people in different positions, and they want to come at the issue all over again. It was never that the Army said, no, we're not going to do this plan. It was just a constant churn of who's in charge and how we're going to go about this. Okay, goals. As I mentioned, there is now, as of October 2009, an executive order 13514 that requires every federal agency to do strategic sustainability performance plans that say, how are we going to reduce greenhouse gases? How are we going to reduce energy use? How are we going to reduce water use? How are we going to improve coordinated planning? How are we going to do our adaptation to changing climate? All those things have to be addressed by every agency. If you go on the Council of Environmental Quality's website, you can see the plans. All the agencies are posted there. This is the plan at the defense level. There actually is not an Army level plan. There's one plan for all of the Department of Defense, except the Corps of Engineers civil program, which has a separate plan. Okay, what are some of the key components, though, that go beyond what's required? The Army has got a plan to have 5 installations be net zero by 2020 in energy, water, and waste. What exactly that means is still to be determined, but it's basically the concept of only using as much energy as being produced, only whatever possible extent recycling, reusing, recovering waste, and the same with water. So these are sort of the priorities of reduction: conservation first, repurposing, recycling, and recovery. So that's one of their key goals, and one of our key research projects is focused on supporting that goal from the energy perspective, and we're adding water and waste dimensions to it. But this is a project that Ben is working on and is being conducted right here in Champaign. These are the goals that the Department of Defense signed up for, and as it relates to greenhouse gas reductions. So 34% by 2020, and of scope 1 and 2 greenhouse gas emissions. And you see there's quite a drop when it comes to scope 3, but that sort of goes back to the issue of, you know, here's the Army saying make it so to its units, and here's the Army having a certain degree of influence